Welcome to T-Bone's Best of Roanoke show. Music, comedy, and conversation featuring HB, the Honey Badger.
Honey Badger don't care.
Now, on with the show.
Boom, boom, boom. This is Radio Free Roanoke, and this is episode 190. HB, T-Bone's Best of Roanoke show 190. We have with us two members of the Roanoke Valley Model Railroaders. Andrew Moss. Hey, Andrew. Scott Smith. What's going on, my man?
Oh, not a whole lot, just running trains.
You sure are.
And boy, do we have them around us. You can't see them, but they're here, and it's a very impressive place.
It's very impressive. Now, you guys, tell us about the Roanoke Valley Model Railroaders. That's been in existence how long?
It's been around, I believe, since the mid-90s, and they existed in the Crossroads Mall way back when, and then they moved into our current location in the basement of the Virginia Museum of Transportation around early 2000s, and that's where we've been ever since.
Tell us the little story where the reason why Crossroads Mall liked to have you out there.
Well, the DMV was actually paying for our space. And yes, so we would entertain the children. We were supposed to, as part of that, we had to be there Saturday mornings running trains for the kids to run trains while the parents got their driver's license renewed.
Good idea.
So we were the entertainment.
The waiting room is tough there.
With kids, they're all over the place. Yes.
Yeah.
And so you've been here in the basement of the Virginia Museum of Transportation off Norfolk Avenue, right here in beautiful downtown Roanoke, for quite a while. So if someone walks in that door and they say, Scott and Andrew, what's this all about? You would say what?
Well, I would first start off with saying, obviously we are an organization of model railroaders, but we have a goal of, building companionship among our members. And, just because, like for me, I'm part of the HO scale division, but I interact with everyone. Like I try to get on all the other layouts and, try to build the relationships with the people. And it's really about that. It's really about sharing stories about, our past, how we got into trains, what we want to do in the future, and, building layouts and, look what I just found on eBay for a steal, or
now, I want to ask you this because I think a lot of people may want to know this. Can you explain the scales?
Yeah, so
start small, go big.
So we don't have a Z-scale layout currently, but Z-scale
is a Z.
There's a Z.
How big is that?
It's a micro.
Tiny.
It is.
It is tiny. And then move on up to N-scale. We have two N-scale layouts. One DC, one DCC. So DC is just direct current, and then DCC it's digitally controlled.
Okay.
Show us with your fingers how big an N scale would be.
Yay big.
If the engine that pulls the train, how long is it in an N scale?
Let's say about that big for N scale. Right?
You may be giving it too much credit.
Might be giving it a little bit. Yeah, something like that.
What's a Z then?
Like that. It is.
Is that a pop? What's the most popular?
HO is probably the most popular.
Okay, so go ahead with them. Yeah.
So HO is 187 scale, so it's about double the size of N.
Z, N.
And I want to say it's like 127.
Okay, but Z,
167.
And then
Z,
N,
then HO, then there's an S gauge that's kind of in the middle of HO.
Known for American Flyer.
Yes.
S gauge.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Really?
And then from S gauge, we move on to O gauge, which is your standard Lionel. That's what's been around.
Kind of the bigger kids can put their hands on them, and
that's been around since the inception of model railroad. That's what most people would associate, a Lionel train with is the O gauge, the 3-rail. Then you have standard gauge, which is 10-plate scale, and that's what Scott here models and has. Him and his son have made an absolutely incredible layout here from the ground up. But
I think we'll see some of that
later.
Too.
Yes.
How old is your son, Scott?
He's 29.
29. Wow.
All right.
So y'all work together.
We worked together and built this layout.
Wow.
Yes.
Cool.
Nice. And then behind us, what are these pictures of?
This is a month by month accounting of what we did. We actually started out with an O gauge layout.
And I'll say right off the bat that our camera probably is not picking the higher.
It's probably not picking it out very well.
But anyway, go ahead with explaining.
Yeah, basically, we cleared off a table here, and then started building levels up, and we completed that or came close. No model train layout is ever complete. It's never complete. But we
in progress.
We had it set up. I was happy with it, and one of the members said, "Do you know if you clean up the room next to us, which was a total junk room, we'll let you expand in there." Oh. Well, you didn't have to say it twice.
Well,
so we actually got the members, and we rotated the table around. And I cut 4 holes in the wall. And moved, and went, by the way, some of those holes actually had 3 studs in them. I don't know why you'd need 3 studs in an 8-inch area, but only Norfolk Western knew because they're the ones that built the wall.
Okay.
But yeah, and
the hole was just to let the train pass through.
Yeah, so the trains could run in both rooms.
Very cool.
Oh my goodness. Well, you guys, did you work for the railroad? I mean, you don't have to work for the railroad to be part of this, do you?
No, sir.
No.
Anyone can join. We have memberships. We have junior memberships, associate memberships, and full memberships. So even if you can only be here, once or twice a month, or if you're a parent with a kid who's interested in trains and you want somewhere for them to come, just have some positive experiences with trains, you can bring them out. The associate membership, you can come out and it's low commitment, and then if you can be here every week consistently,
kind of be a part of the team,
and you want to be a big part of the team, like we have the full membership option, and it's $12 a month for the full membership, and I want to say it's $15 a year for junior.
I think so.
I think it's $15. I think it's $15 a year for a junior.
Very reasonable. We're not trying to make money here.
Right.
We are a nonprofit, and actually a nonprofit corporation. So it is official here.
And then you meet officially every Tuesday night.
That is correct.
Yes, sir.
Like from 6:30 to
6:30 to 8:30. Yes, sir.
Every 2 hours. Okay.
Now,
go ahead, HB.
I just want to say this. I know the Transportation Museum. I think most Roanokeers know that.
Yes.
But if you go behind it, there is a sign and a set of steps that goes down into this area. And this area is not, I'm thinking I'm going to go in here and it's going to be a room. There'll be a layout, and there'll be some people to talk about it. That's not what this was at all.
No, it's a whole lot more to it
It's
than
many rooms. It's huge area. If you think about the size of the Transportation Museum below, it's a pretty good size. I don't think you have all of it, but it's
the basement does not run throughout the whole building.
Right, but we're in the back of it, of where we came in, and there was storage and layouts and a whole lot before we even got back here. So I just want to say that to show y'all, just to show the audience what is actually here.
It's a good footprint. And how many layouts do you have running right now?
So we have 7 active divisions, and then plus a kids layout that kids can come in and run during our open houses, which I will mention now that we do have an open house coming up on Saturday, the March 30th.
All right.
So the divisions are, we have from when you walk down the stairs and walk in all the way to the back of our space here, we have the ON30, which that's O-gauge sized trains that run on HO scale track to kind of, it models narrow gauge as you would see kind of in the mountains back in the early 1900s.
Okay, so that's all right.
So you have ON30. Then as you walk back there, you'll see a layout on the right that is our N-scale DC. Then if you go to the left, on your right, there'll be the HO scale DCC layout, and on the left will be another room that is the N scale DCC. And if you continue down the hallway past the N scale DC layout, on the right will be the kids table, and it's just 3 tracks with an oval, and it really engages people who are just like, because I know as a kid, when I saw a model train, all I wanted to do is I want to run the trains.
Yeah.
And it gives kids the opportunity
just
to run
to
those trains.
Touch it and feel it and run it. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And possibly create a future model railroader.
Yeah.
And then to the left of the kids table is our HO scale DC layout. And then if you continue straight back, there is our O scale layout. And then here past the O scale layout is our standard gauge tin plate layout.
Wow.
Very cool.
We're here with Scott Smith, Andrew Moss, Roanoke Valley Model Railroaders. Now, do you remember your first railroad as a child? Do you remember what it was, or is it too far back, Scott?
Well, for me, it didn't go very well.
Oh.
Quite honestly.
What does it mean, Scott?
Well, it was a cheap set my dad bought, and there's a reason. My dad's a CPA. He's not a carpenter.
Okay.
Okay.
The layout may have.
Yeah, he bought a thin piece of plywood to put under my bed, stapled it down with a staple, HO track, and the board warped and the track popped up and ended the train ride.
Train really didn't do too well.
Rough start.
It was a rough start.
Wreck of the old 97.
Well, yeah, it was actually just it was just frustration more than anything.
Yeah.
But you hung in there, obviously.
No, I didn't.
No.
Well, look where you are today.
Because of my son.
Oh.
Well, that's very nice.
That's what happened. I can remember, in all honesty, I can remember being in church 30 years ago, and there was some guy in Sunday school talking about his model train layout. And I'm going to tell you what I thought. In my head. In my head, I'm going, what a nut job. Didn't this guy ever grow up?
Hey, don't grow up now.
Don't grow up. That's exactly what was going through my mind, and I am sure God was in the background just laughing. So wait till you see what I have in store for you.
That's so good.
Well, tell me this. The layouts, they're very impressive. Where do you get your ideas for these layouts? And are some of the layouts based on real-life locations?
Some are.
Yeah. So,
yeah, go ahead.
So the HO scale DCC layout, it was built originally back when the organization was still a part of the Crossroads Mall.
Okay.
And it was actually one of the layouts that was moved here when we moved into this building back in the early 2000s. And when it was built, it's loosely based on 1950s and 60s Norfolk and Western kind of. It's supposed to be in this area. It's not very specific to an area. It's just supposed to be 1950s and 60s Virginia.
Shows
Norfolk
the mountains
and Western.
maybe in this area.
We have mountain backdrops, and it's a double track main line, double loop, and it has a branch line that goes up and can work to demonstrate like the industries that the N&W would work and serve those smaller customers that wouldn't need the bulk, 100-car coal trains. While we have the main line. And then I think I want to say the N scale DCC is loosely based around. It's more modern, but I think it's supposed to be loosely based around Virginia as well.
Okay.
And then the rest of our layouts are kind of sort of freelance, not supposed to represent anywhere exactly specific, but they're
But they're realistic.
They're realistic.
Layouts.
Yes.
Yeah, what it would be. I get it.
Well, they're realistic. Mine's a toy train layout. Okay. I mean, it's every train's metal. All the buildings are metal.
Yeah, it still mimcs a town or or passing of where.
I'm not worried about scale.
Right.
Because the trains are even different scales. They're the same gauge, but they're different scales.
Okay.
So it doesn't. A gauge is the distance between the track.
Okay.
Scale is actually its relation to a ruler.
Okay, the size of
yes
of the car. I guess.
Like if you're looking at O gauge, it should be O scale. It should be a quarter inch equals 1 foot.
Okay.
Okay.
All
well,
right.
these are all over. These are all over the board when it comes to the tin plate.
Okay.
And I think that with the realistic layouts, there's a lot of people who will nitpick kind of certain things, and that's one of the things I love about Scott's layout is that it's imagination, and it's watching the imagination come to life and just watching it be. He adds a scene at least probably once every month, and every scene every scene is just more impressive than the last, and it's just. I will, even though I'm part of HO scale DCC, and that's what I model. Scott's layout is probably my favorite.
Okay.
Well, the thing is about this hobby, when you start building, you make a lot of mistakes. Then as you go, you get better. Okay. This first room here is not as good as the second room.
Okay.
Okay.
Makes sense.
Yeah, because I learned things here that I used over there.
Are you more of a build guy? Is it more fun to build, or is it more fun to run your train?
You know, that's a good question, T-Bone.
For me, it's more for me. I run more than I build because I'm still in the process of learning how to build, and we have a couple projects that they haven't come to fruition yet with the HO scale DCC layout, but like we have plans for adding things like signals on the layout and maybe adding a couple scenes here and there, or adding tracks so that we have more room to switch with our yard. But usually when I come here, I usually whatever train I feel like running that day, I'll set up on the layout and I'll run
hit the throttle.
Yes, sir.
Does O. Winston Link have any bearing on what y'all do at all? Like the museum of pictures and what that guy took photographs? Do y'all incorporate that in any way at all? Does it have anything to do with the layout? Or just thought I'd ask that because it is close by.
I think there's a couple scenes that are kind of, because I know one of the trestles on our HO layout is kind of based. There's a scene down below that's based on one of his favorite.
Oh, there you go.
Based on one of his famous photographs. And I will say, just on a personal level, since I also do the railroad photography aspect of it, O. Winston Link has had a huge influence on me in that aspect.
Okay.
And trying to, I've tried to recreate a couple of his shots with modern stuff and
nice.
Looking at his lighting techniques and his composition, everything like that.
Present company excluded, Scott and Andrew. Could you name some other famous celebrities that run model railroads? I researched and found 4.
It's the one.
I mean, Frank Sinatra was a big. I mean,
is that one? T-Bone?
Yes, Frank.
Bing.
Yes,
he had over $1 million worth of railroad stock.
Wow.
All right, Michael Jordan. You ever heard of that guy?
Oh gosh, really?
But Michael Jordan built a replica in scale, right, the smaller scale of the Chicago Northwestern Railroad.
Wow.
Yeah. And then Tom Hanks is supposedly building a super Southern Pacific layout, and he was the voice of the conductor on Polar Express. And then Elton John has a train going through his back garden. A train,
really?
Yeah. So trains.
Neil Young's part owner of Lionel.
Who is?
Neil Young.
I didn't know that.
Oh,
That's
wow.
so cool.
And I've
Neil
seen
Young.
him at train shows. I mean, I've stood right behind him as they were doing presentations on trains, and he's sitting there, at the edge of his, edge of his seat, listening to every word of it. Yes, absolutely.
And Rod Stewart's
awesome.
the big
Rod
That's the one I was
Oh,
going to say.
I didn't know that. I'm learning.
Well, now, I remember a little bit back in how trains were back in your heyday when you first started, but what improvements have happened to layouts and trains over the last few years?
Technology has changed everything.
Now tell us the changes. What are the changes?
It used to, it was a big deal just to get a horn in at one time, just to have and sound like a door buzzer.
Oh.
Yeah, Lionel had a product that actually was just a static generator, and they called it the Mighty Sound of Steam. I used to call it the Mighty Sound of Static because it sounded like a TV cutting in and out. Yeah.
And for what at the time?
At the time, it was like revolutionary.
Yeah.
That was back in the '60s. People, wow! Do you hear that sound? Yeah, it sounds like my TV left the station went off the air. But that was revolutionary. Now they're actually digitally recorded sounds of the actual locomotives.
Ooh.
And I'm using the DCS system here. MTH made that. It actually has cruise control. Now, it used to be you put a train on the track, and if you walked away, it would get faster and faster and faster and faster, and then eventually just derail. If I put one of my trains on the track, I can set a speed, walk away, come back 4 hours later. It's still running that same speed.
Okay.
Wow.
What if you run like steam trains? Didn't they used to have like a little pellet or a little liquid you do to make smoke?
There is a heating element in them, and these trains have.
I've seen it. Yeah, we got here. There was smoke in the air. T-Bone.
Absolutely.
It was. Yeah.
It was, okay, I smell it. Mm-hmm. Are you a diesel or a steam guy?
I'm a diesel guy. my modeling focus
Nobody's
is
perfect.
To be fair, I do have I have a steam engine in my possession. I don't run it as much, but I have one.
Yeah.
But my modeling focus, I have two main modeling focuses. I model 1980s era Santa Fe when they were there was rumors of a merger between them and Southern Pacific, and it's called a Kodachrome scheme. It's red and yellow, and both railroads had painted locomotives in this Kodachrome scheme in anticipation of the merger, and it became known as, because it was going to be SPSF, it became known in the railroad world as the shouldn't paint so fast merger, because they had both railroads had painted engines, and it just left space on either side of whether SF or SP to put the other two letters on it. And then my other modeling focus is what I'm getting into now is 90s Conrail, because that's, I mean, I was born in 1999, but I'm originally from South Jersey, so that's what I grew up with seeing Conrail locomotives, pulling trains, and that's I kind of want to pay homage to that as well.
Right, and I guess you know, Honey Badger's daddy was an engineer. He drove the 611. Do you have some trains down here that are the 611?
Yes, we have probably about 10 of them in the HO room between our members, because it is just so popular.
Yeah.
Like it's the staple of a modern steam, at least on the East Coast, and it's the staple of Roanoke. Like everything train related here. You can't talk about trains of Roanoke without mentioning the 611.
Right up.
Yeah, they used them in, I think, Mercedes commercials, and I'll tell you what, I learned this later in life. The 611 and that run of steam engines that they built here, that was near the end of steam.
Mm-hmm.
Like as soon as it was built and finished, it only ran about 9 years or something.
About 9 years, yes.
And then the diesel kind of took over,
It did.
which when we say diesel, we actually mean generators that are run by diesel power that make electricity that powers the wheels.
Yes.
My dad kind of explained that to
Yes,
me
sir.
when I was, because I was like, oh, diesel power. Oh, now hold on, that runs a generator that creates electricity to pull the wheels, and that was okay. It didn't matter, and because he opened the doors on the engine to let me hear the diesel making the generation of electricity. So it was very cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Very cool. And then as we get ready to wind it down a little bit, are there any other museums out there when people are out of town? You know, certainly people can come here and get their feet wet and look at what you have, Virginia Museum of Transportation or Winston Link. But if you're traveling outside of town, is there one or two places you'd recommend? Train museums or layouts?
So if you're going towards North Carolina, the North Carolina Transportation Museum and down in Spencer, North Carolina, also they have a huge campus, I guess you could call it, and they offer train rides and that kind of thing.
Okay.
They have a whole roundhouse. Or if you're going somewhere closer, there's the C&O Heritage Center up in Clifton Forge, Virginia. It's about an hour and a half, 2 hours from here in Roanoke. And
They have an O-gauge layout there as well.
yes.
They do?
Yes, they
Okay.
do.
I didn't know
Yes.
that. All right.
And they have a lot of C&O equipment. The steam engine, the C&O 614, is sitting there on display, as well as a lot of other really cool pieces of equipment.
Now, I'm going to ask this, T-Bone, before we get done. There was steam, and then there was diesel, and then it went actual electric total with overhead lines. Is
Yes.
that any part of y'all's layouts? I don't know.
But the standard gauge, actually, we have electric locomotives. And actually, the electric came along really before the dieselization.
Oh,
It really did.
okay.
Virginian had electric locomotives before
The Virginian
The Virginia did-
Railroad.
oh, absolutely.
Which was bought by
Norfolk and Western.
Norfolk
yes.
and Western. That's
And
okay.
they had electric way before.
Was that because of cities, or was it pollution? Was there any?
It wasn't driven by pollution. It was driven by power. And if you have overhead,
If you can have like
yes,
overhead lines.
and Virginia did a huge test where they put a bunch of steam locomotives. They were pulling similar size,
Okay.
and they used the electric locomotives versus the steam. And they said the steam locomotives put on the best show, but it wasn't even close
To the power?
to the power they got out of those electrics.
Isn't that something?
Yeah, the electrics.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you for saying that. I did not know that. That's a cool thing.
The line was electrified all the way through Roanoke, all the way down through Mullins, West Virginia, I do believe.
I believe so. Yeah, I think, and on most of the branches up there too, because I know all the way up the old, they call it the PD, the Princeton Deepwater. That whole district was electrified, and some of the catenaries still stand. It's most of that line is now mothballed. Like they don't use it much anymore. At least west of Princeton.
Yeah.
But a lot of the catenary infrastructure is still standing, especially on the old bridges that they use.
Okay.
I believe that the power station was right there in Narrows.
Yes.
So they had a coal
Narrows,
fire.
all right.
Yeah, they had a coal fire plant there that actually produced the electricity for the locomotives.
Electrifying the lines. Okay.
And actually, it was a whole lot. The electric, once you have it built, it's more efficient than diesels or steam, by far.
Okay.
But it's the initial cost that eats you up.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Well, our very special guests have been Scott Smith, Andrew
Sorry.
Moss,
Sorry.
of the Roanoke Valley Model Railroaders. Is there anything else that we left out that you want to highlight?
Is there
before we
visiting
go?
times here? Is there? Let's go over that.
So we are open. We come in every Tuesday from 6:30 to 8:30.
All right.
And we're running trains. We are welcome. We welcome.
So anybody
visitors.
could stop by.
Yes,
Come in
absolutely.
the door.
Now, we do have a business meeting every other month.
Yes, the fourth Tuesday of every odd numbered month.
So you do not want to show up then. You're going to find the door locked, and we're all going to be upstairs talking about ridiculous business matters when everybody wants to run trains.
Yes. Okay. I get it.
Andrew has to run those meetings, so
Yes.
But as far as those 2 hour, there's a 2 hour window there.
Yeah, there's a 2-hour window every Tuesday besides the fourth Tuesday of the odd numbered months.
Okay.
And we have open houses scheduled kind of throughout the year. We're making it a goal of ours to have more of those this year than we did last year, with our first one of 2024 being next Saturday, March 30th.
So even if you don't even know, say you want to stop by and I want to spend an hour there, check it all out.
absolutely.
Very cool place to come. If people would love to see something you're not going to see every day,
Well, I mean,
this is it.
look. It's a Saturday morning. You're trying to figure out where to bring the kids. Okay. Everywhere else you go,
They're going to love it.
yeah. Well, everywhere else you're going to go, they're going to charge you admission fee. This is free.
This you
is
walk in
free.
the
You walk
door.
in and entertain the
Oh,
kids
very
for a
cool.
few hours. I mean, it's a great thing.
Yeah.
And you can stop here and get tips if you're starting your railroad at home.
Absolutely.
Or
I
you
would
can-
love to do
Oh,
something.
y'all
Yes.
would have
They'd
it.
have
Oh,
a few tips, and then
Yeah.
do you ever sell like extra stuff, or you have like a yard sale, surplus stuff?
So we have shelves of stuff out in our hallway there, and I mean we're not trying to rob anyone blind or anything. We're selling it for really, really good prices.
I'll be honest with you. I mean, this curtain's here underneath your table. There is stuff under here. Like, it looks like everywhere I look.
Nobody's supposed to know that.
There is stuff. Which is great. It shows the vastness of this place and the knowledge that's here. That's kind of, yeah.
Yeah, if you missed a segment of the interview or you want to see the whole interview again, just go to our YouTube channel, HB. There's 3 types of crazy I've determined.
All
There's
right.
crazy, there's good crazy, and there's train crazy. And my favorite kind of crazy
That's
is
a
train crazy.
loco crazy.
Well,
Thank
very
you, fellas.
cool.
Great
Thank
job.
Thank you
very
guys for
much.
having us. It's very much appreciated. Thank you guys for
Yes.
your interest, and thank you guys for allowing us to talk about what we love to do.
Keep on rolling.
Yes. Thank you very much.
All right, that's it. That's a wrap.
Wow.
Choo-choo, boogie. Take me right back to the track, Jack. Right. Let it roll. information for the last and the lack. I need some conversation to get back in the black. I take a morning paper from the top of the stack and read the situation from the front to the back. The only job that's open, take a man with a knack. So put it right back in the stack. Jack, choo choo, choo choo, cha-boogie, woo woo, woo woo, cha-boogie, choo choo, choo choo, cha-boogie. Take